Hello again, this is the Tone Deaf Monk. I want to talk about the maze, which is Simgot's EW200, otherwise known thereof. I actually took this little bad boy to, I was going to say camping, but we'll call it a lake retreat. I needed my spirit to be reset and took care of some personal things that I needed to do. So there we go. So a little inner reflection, and what better to do that with some good tunes. So there we go. I love saying that, actually. It's one of my catchphrases, isn't it? I noticed it when I'm redoing my videos, when I'm editing my videos. I say a lot, and there you go. So there you go. Anyway, enough gibberish. Let's get into the meat of this bad boy. Now, this is kind of interesting, actually. So I got, when I saw and heard about the EW200, I had just did the review of the EW100, and I liked that very much, and I thought it was just a good value. Not the absolute best value for under 20 bucks. I think that still belongs to the Truth Ear Ola for me. But I was pretty excited, and of course, coming off of doing another video of the EA500, where Simgot sent me a tuning kit. So I was playing around with that. But what I realized was, after doing the tuning kit, I actually didn't do that review. Didn't really include, why I retuned it the way I did, and I did graph it to show people, but I actually didn't talk about that. And then this is super interesting because along comes the EW200, and I ended up graphing that one just before I started my burn-in process. And here, look at this. I mean, the two are virtually identical in the graph. So I ended up retuning the EA500 to my personal preference, which turns out to be the bang-on of the EW200. I'll talk a little bit more later about the difference between the two, because there is. Firstly, let me say thank you very much to Fia from Simgot for providing the EW200 to me. She knows I'm a big fan. And quite honestly, this deserves a much longer, detailed review than I'm giving it. But I felt that if I would just talk about it, it would sound disingenuous, and that's not the way I wanted to come across. So understand that a little bit. I didn't want to hype it up too much, but it's certainly deserving of it. So thank you, and let's talk a little bit more about the Simgot EW200. Thank you. All right, I'm back, and I brought my notes this time. Lake reflection notes. I have some track impressions. I have some comparisons. But let's actually take a step back for a sec and talk about the EA500. If you haven't picked one up yet, and it goes on sale, 100% worth it. Some people found it a bit bright, and I didn't, and I'm trouble sensitive, and I thought it was pretty resolving and detailed, which it is. But if you don't want to muck around with any filters or retuning, well, EW200. There you go. There's that phrase again. Should I edit that out? I don't know. But there you go. I forgot how great these were. Had so many high-end, low-end, medium-end, shit-end in my ears. That's why I needed to take the break and reset myself. But putting these things back in again, I realized that they really are a wonderful IAM. I see that I've got so EA 500s that I have, my set, are tuned to what I like. And that was the last with the tuning kit nozzles and the 500 level Tanya filter, or what was in the kit I used as well. So that's what's on here. And my listening impressions versus are with that. And the graph will show you that as well. EW200. What can I say about it? Well, lots of good things. The shell shape is about the same as the EW100, except for slightly bigger. Fitment, again, even in smaller ears, you shouldn't have any problem whatsoever. So, excellent isolation, fitment, great. Not as good as the EA 500. But pretty terrific, which is funny too because the shell shape is similar but not the same. The bass now is increased to where I put the little filter over top of the vent to increase the sub bass. So over the EA 500 stock, the bass has definitely been increased. They say this is their new pinnacle level, flagship level dynamic driver. I would say it's a wonderful driver. That is for sure. What else does it do? I mean, it's really hard to fault the EW200 for anything, really. I mean, great vocals, so the mids are great. The bass is fast and snappy and articulate, goes low. This is a $40 IM that should not be $40. It really, really shouldn't. If you're looking for a under $50 IM, it's a go-to. It's a no-brainer. If you had a little bit more money and you were willing to play around with some tuning, then the EA 500 is where you'd want to go. I still think it's a better IM. We'll get to that. But I'll make this video short. Like, honestly, you don't need me to go on and on and on. If you watch my EA 500 and everyone else's video, they say the same thing. Everyone kind of does say the same thing about the EW200 as well. Excellent value. It has, extension on both ends. It has nice treble that is not, I don't find it fatiguing or sibilant or sharp. I think it's a really well balanced IM. That's, my impressions. It's more, let's talk about some songs, really. I think that might give you a better idea of how I thought it sounded. Male vocals, Sting. His voice was amazing. So, Rock Wonderland by Kim Mitchell. Kick drums, pound. They're snappy, fast, wow. Perfect replay, wow. Tangle of Love, again, Kim Mitchell. Instrument separation were great. The depth was really good. There She Goes, Sixpence None the Richer, from that track. And female vocals were wonderful. Just to throw some other genres at it, I Feel Love by the Blue Man Group, right? Straight out of Vegas. It's a very busy track, so checking, how it does. It was super good, and it was clear. The bass keeps up. There's no harshness. It's just well done. The Way I Feel. I'm listening on this track. Hi-hats, cymbal strikes. Very, very good. Lots of high-end energy. Male vocals were well balanced on high volumes, right? A musical treat, no sibilants. So, I could go on. It's a great sounding IM. It's fantastic for $40. The EW200, how does it sound? Well, it's a great all-rounder. It has nice, fast, articulate bass. The driver itself, you can tell it's quality. It punches nice into the mid bass. It has some nice decay. It actually has some texture in the bass. It has excellent mids, male vocals, female vocals, both sound natural and good. I would not call this a warm IM, and I wouldn't call it. It's a neutral IM. It's more. That's where the vocals hit, and again, not forward in the mix and not recessed at all. So, staging again is probably better than average. Good width, good height, some decent depth. There is some layering. There is, dynamics. It has it all. For $40, it shouldn't be $40. It should be $100. Like the EA500 should have been $200, right? That's the kind of level. Highly recommended if you just want an IM. You're gonna, for all genres, throw it in your ears, and you don't have to worry about tuning. They kind of did it all for you already. And I have this on a pure a Kuge pure copper cable. I was playing around with some cables and tips. All these are all on JVC's spiral dots. So that's what I use, FX10 spiral dots. I really like that tip. Huge wide bore. Does wonders for the stage. Tames the highs a little bit. The EW100, the Shark, is here somewhere. I thought it was pretty good, but it's not on the same level. The driver in this, the shell, everything was a step up with the EW200. What happened to the EA500 and the Maze? They didn't give you this, my favorite little baller case. I would sometimes rather not have anything and cut down the price, and I think it's a smart play by Simgot to do that. Let's talk about the difference between the two. I touched on earlier how close the tuning is on paper between the two. From what my retuned EA500 and this are almost mirror identical, but the two do not sound the same. Between the two, with my retuning, the EW200 is still more vocal forward. It has more energy in the mids, but it certainly doesn't look like it on paper. I think the EW200 overall over the EA500 was probably a little bit more balanced, which means that it put a little bit more energy into the mids, and it kind of bounced it off a little bit more than the EA500. But where the EA500 starts to really differ is the bass. It goes lower, it has more authoritative energy, it hits slightly harder. In the mids, it's more resolving. In the highs, it's definitely more resolving. The EA500 for me is the one I'm going to reach for because I tuned it the way I really love it, which is very close to the EW200. It took a long time, like hours and hours of back and forth on even different sources to get my impressions of the two with the similar tunings. They're both fantastic. Really hard to beat the EW200 at that price. Stock cable is fantastic. Again, it's 3.5 only. Again, I don't care. It's just a cable, but if you could make it slightly better, which I thought I did, how good a value I think the EW200 really is. So, not getting too analytical about it, but in conclusion, I will say that between this and the EW500, if you just wanted to buy a $50 sub IM, it's certainly worthy of your attention and your money. For $40 to some, it's a lot, and this is a big decision to purchase it. So I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I think it's an all-rounder, and I think it's a pretty safe IM. And I think for what it does is hugely undervalued. I think this IM is definitely not only worth $40, but under $100, just like I thought the EA500 should have been $200. It's truly a wonderful IM. It's worthy of the praise. It was a short one. It was a quick one. That's kind of my impressions of the Simgot EW200. It's a great IM. It's a great price. It's an awesome value. If you got $40, snatcher. Tone Deaf Monk. I am out. I thank you for watching, and I'll get you next time. Cheers.